My Arja, my grandfather, had a twinkle in his eye. It was a special twinkle that appeared only when he was about to tell his best story. He would gather all the children under the large banyan tree in our village. "Do you know about Raja Vikramaditya?" he would begin, his voice low and full of mystery. He told us that Vikramaditya was not just a great king, known for his wisdom and justice. He was also a guardian of a magical khajana, a treasure of immense value. This was not a treasure of gold coins or shiny diamonds alone. Arja said it was a treasure of knowledge, courage, and kindness, hidden somewhere deep in the ancient hills of Ujjain. It was a secret passed down through many, many years. The legend said that the king did not want his treasure to fall into greedy hands, so he created a special path to protect it. This path was not on any ordinary map that you could buy in a shop. It was a path of riddles and clues, a test for the heart and mind of the seeker. Only someone with a pure heart, a curious mind, and great courage could ever hope to find it. Arja would lean in and whisper, "They say the treasure is protected by gentle spirits of the forest. They only show the way to those who are truly deserving." The story filled my small heart with a big sense of wonder. I could almost see the hidden caves and hear the whispers of the past. I listened to this story every summer. Each time it felt new and exciting. Other children would soon forget and run off to play their games of hide and seek. But the story stayed with me. It planted a seed of adventure in my mind. I, a young boy named Rohan, dreamed of those forgotten hills. I imagined myself walking on those secret paths. I wanted to be the one to solve the king's clever riddles. I did not care so much for gold or jewels. I wanted to see the magic Arja spoke of. I wanted to prove that I had a brave and pure heart, just like the heroes in his tales. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, I made a decision. I was old enough now. I would not just dream about the khajana anymore. I would go and find it. I went to my Ajja, who was sitting on the porch, looking at the stars. I told him, "Ajja, I want to find Raja Vikramaditya's lost treasure." He looked at me for a long moment. He did not laugh or tell me it was just a story. Instead, he smiled that same twinkling smile. He saw the determination in my eyes and knew my heart was in the right place. He knew my quest was about to begin. My preparation for the journey was simple but very important. Ajja gave me an old, worn-out cloth bag. Inside, my mother, had packed some soft rotis and a small lump of jaggery for energy. She also gave me a bottle of water. Ajja added a small, sturdy rope and a box of matches. "You never know what you might need, my boy," he said. But the most precious item he gave me was a small, rolled-up piece of parchment. It was not a map, but something far more special. It was a page from his great-grandfather's diary. On it was a drawing of a unique flower that grew only on the Ujjain hills and a single, cryptic line of poetry. The line read, "Where the sun first touches the sleeping giant's head, follow the stream that sings a song." I read it again and again until I knew it by heart. The sleeping giant, Ajja explained, was what the villagers called the largest hill in the range. It looked like a giant lying down to rest. My first task was clear. I had to be at the top of the nearby smaller hill before sunrise. I had to see where the first rays of sunlight landed on the giant hill. My heart was beating like a drum. I was filled with both fear and excitement. This was not a game anymore. It was a real adventure. The next morning, I woke up before the rooster crowed. The world was dark and silent. I said a quiet goodbye to my sleeping family and slipped out of the house. The air was cool and fresh. I walked towards the hills, my small bag on my shoulder. The path was familiar at first, but soon I was walking into unknown territory. The sounds of the village faded away and were replaced by the chirping of crickets and the rustling of leaves. I felt a little bit scared, but then I remembered Ajja's stories of courage. "A brave heart is the best lamp in the dark," he used to say. I held that thought close and kept walking forward. As I climbed the smaller hill, the sky began to change its color from black to a deep blue, then to a soft purple. I reached the top just in time. I stood there, breathless, and watched the magnificent sunrise. The first golden ray of the sun shot across the sky and touched the very peak of the sleeping giant hill. And right there, from that exact spot, I saw a thin, silvery line. It was a small stream starting its journey down the hill. It was the singing stream from the riddle. I felt a surge of joy. The first clue was solved. I knew which path to take. Following the stream was a magical experience. The water did seem to sing as it tumbled over smooth, colorful pebbles. The path was not easy. Sometimes it disappeared behind thick bushes, and I had to use my hands to clear the way. I walked for hours, deeper and deeper into the forest. The trees grew so tall and thick that their leaves formed a green roof above me, and sunlight dappled the ground in beautiful patterns. I saw colorful birds I had never seen before, and a family of deer watched me with their big, curious eyes before quickly running away. I felt like the forest was alive and was watching over me on my special journey. After a long walk, the stream led me to a small clearing. In the center stood a very old stone statue of an elephant. It was covered in moss and vines. Around its base was another riddle carved into the stone. It said, "I have a mouth but never speak. I have a bed but never sleep. What am I?" I sat down on a rock and thought hard. A mouth? A bed? I looked at the stream that had led me here. It had a mouth where it joined a bigger river, and it had a riverbed. "A river!" I shouted with delight. The answer was the stream itself. I had to keep following it. As I continued, the path became more mysterious. The stream flowed into a dark cave. I was hesitant at first. The entrance looked like a gaping mouth. Taking a deep breath, I lit a match. The small flame pushed back the darkness. I stepped inside carefully. The air was cool and damp, and the only sound was the drip, drip, drip of water. On the wall of the cave, I saw paintings. They were ancient paintings of a king, stars, and strange symbols. They seemed to tell a story. In one painting, the king was pointing towards a part of the cave ceiling where there was a natural hole. It was my next clue. I looked up and saw the hole in the ceiling. A single beam of afternoon light was shining through it, illuminating a specific spot on the cave floor. I walked over to the spot. There, half buried in the soft earth, was a flat stone with a carving on it. It was the unique flower from Ajah's parchment. I knew I was very close. My heart pounded with anticipation. I used my hands to dig around the stone. It was heavy, but I managed to lift it. Underneath, I did not find a chest of gold. Instead, I found a set of stone steps leading down into the darkness. The real secret lay below. I lit another match and cautiously walked down the stone steps. They led me into a small circular chamber. The air here was not damp or cold. It felt warm and peaceful. In the center of the chamber, there was no treasure chest filled with gold or jewels. Instead, there was a single stone pedestal. On top of the pedestal lay a simple open book made of thin metal plates. The pages were filled with beautiful inscriptions. As I moved closer, a soft, gentle light began to glow from the book, filling the entire room with a calm golden hue. It was not scary, it was welcoming and serene. I gently touched the metal pages. I could not read the ancient script, but somehow I could understand the meaning. It was not a book of spells or secrets to wealth. It was a collection of stories and teachings. There were stories about justice, about being kind to all living beings, and about the importance of knowledge. There were lessons on courage, not just in fighting battles, but the courage to be honest and do the right thing, even when it is difficult. This was Raja Vikramaditya's real khajana. It was not a treasure you could spend, but a treasure you could live by. It was a treasure for the heart and soul. I understood then why the path was so difficult. The journey itself was a test. The riddles were not just to check if I was clever, but to see if I was patient and thoughtful. The forest's beauty taught me to respect nature. The dark cave taught me to overcome my fear. The king wanted to share his wisdom, not his wealth. He wanted the person who found his treasure to understand that real wealth is not what you have, but what you are. It is the kindness you show, the courage you have, and the knowledge you seek. This was a lesson far more valuable than any diamond or piece of gold. I did not take the book with me. It did not belong to me. It belonged to the world, for the next deserving person to find. I closed the book, and the beautiful light faded. I climbed back up the steps, replaced the stone slab, and left the cave, my heart full of a new kind of richness. The journey back was filled with happiness. I had not returned with gold. But I had found something much greater. I had found a new understanding. This adventure taught me that curiosity is the map to wonderful discoveries, and courage is the light that guides you through the darkest paths. It is a treasure that lives inside you forever.